Over Shabbos, I was very happy to read a little story about the Taz, because it had to do with our learning. The Taz is the name of Perush on Shulchan Aruch. It goes throughout, I think, most of the, I think all Arba Chalki Shulchan Aruch, I think so. And it's the Taz is Rosh Tevos for Turei Zahav. Turei Zahav. There was a Perush that goes along, you have the Shulchan Aruch in the middle, and you have on the side the commentaries. So one of the famous commentaries is the commentaries of the Taz, called in more expanded Turei Zahav. His name was David Segal, Harav David Segal. That was his name. And he was a very poor man, but he was a very, very big Talmud Chacham. Imagine, he succeeded to write a Perush on all Arba Chalki Shulchan Aruch, as far as I remember. In any case, he's quoted very, very often, and as I said, he was very poor, and he wore, poor man's clothing, and his talus also was very, very old and worn, and maybe even torn in certain places. The tzitzis was still kosher, and the people in this city where he lived, it bothered them that he walks around, a big Talmud Chacham like that, walks around looking so poor. So a bunch of women got together and they said, we got to get the Taz a new talus. So they got together and they bought him a new talus, or they sewed it, or whatever it is. They got him a new talus. They presented, Rabbi, you think he'd be very happy. That's the things that he's interested in. He's not interested in the Gashmius of the whole world, but a talus, a Dover Sheba Kedusha, he'd be interested in a new talus, to have a Kvod Shamayim, to wear a nice beged. He didn't accept it. He didn't accept it. So they said to him, Rabbi, why don't you want to accept it? It's such a beautiful talus. We went to the bother and the trouble of bringing you this new talus. He says, after 120 years, when I go up to Shamayim, this talus is going to be a witness that my Shmona Esrei didn't have any strange thoughts. No machshavas zoros. I want this talus to go into the grave with me, and when I come up there to the Beis Din Shamayla, it's going to be my witness. No strange thoughts. Now, to say such a thing, you would say, well, it's an exaggeration. But when it comes to Beis Din Shamayla, and you're talking about things that are going to happen after a person passes away, you're not interested in exaggerations. You're interested only in the truth. Up there is no such thing as fooling anybody. Everybody knows exactly what happens, and they know Min Shamayim. To be able to say such a thing, I didn't understand myself who the Taz was until I read that. He's a big Talmud Chacham. He had other commentaries on the Shulchan Aruch. All of them big Talmid Chachamim, fine. But to say such a thing, that means the person had such control. He worked on himself. I mean, this is years of work. Not to be able to, not to allow a strange thought in when you're in the Shmona Esrei, and to say that when I come to Beis Din Shamayla, this talus is going to be my witness. That is something. That is something.
When I went to Ram Kaduri,
yes,
to get the book, after everything, they sold the chair where he was sitting.
Yeah. What about it?
They sold.
Oh, they sold it. They sold it.
They sold the chair where he was sitting.
No, I can understand that too. I can understand that too. Yes. Okay, so you have the sheets. Everybody has a sheet. All right. We last week we did on page 150. We're now on page 151. And in
That one?
on 150, we came across that statement, which startled everybody. It startled me the first time I saw it also. You have to realize that, I'm just reviewing the main idea. When you have a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have to look at yourself as Am zu yatzarti li. Am zu yatzarti. Hashem created us. The pasuk in Yeshayahu, Am zu yatzarti li. Now the word zu is naked, is nekeva. It's feminine. This nation I created for myself. Tehilasi yisaper. They will verbalize my praise. They will praise me. This is what Hashem is saying through Yeshayahu Hanavi. Am zu yatzarti li. I created this nation for me. Now this is a strange way of saying the nation of Israel, the naked in the nekeva, in the feminine. The word am, al pi diktuk, according to Graham, is masculine.
So why is Zu is feminine?
Oh, that's a good question. Am is masculine. You should say am ze yatzarti li, not am zu. Zu is feminine. So why did the Navi say it that way? And if he said it that way, he said it al pi nevuah. Am zu yatzarti li. This feminine nation I made for myself. The answer is obvious. We want to talk about a close relationship. What's the most intimate relationship that a person can think of? The most intimate relationship a person can think of is a husband and wife. That's the most intimate relationship a person can think of. So you have a husband and you have a wife. Now, if we want to take that same idea and transfer it from us to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who's going to be the male? Who's going to be the female? Well, obviously, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to be our wife, and we're not going to be the husband. He's going to be the husband. He's the giver. We're the receiver. He has the parnasa. He has all the shefa. He has everything that we receive from him. So we're on the receiving end. We are the females, in a sense. We're the recipients. And therefore, the Navi says, Am zu yatzarti li, this nation, which is described in the feminine, zu, for myself, we are, in a sense, a wife to a HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Derech agav, this is not nogeh to the thing, but derech agav, very often, when I'm asked to speak at a bar mitzvah, I very often quote this pasuk. Why? What does this pasuk have to do with anything? Because if you take the letters Zu, Zayin, Vav, the numerical value is 7 and 6, 13. When does a bachar bar mitzvah become ra'ui, fitting, to get into that cloud that he is now be able to be married, so to speak, to Kodesh Baruch Hu? When he's 13 years old. Am zu, when you are 13, you are now officially part of the Am, of the nation, and now you are considered to be like my wife. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, now begin to praise me. Tehilasi yisaperu. This is a bracha bar mitzvah. So many years ago, when I said that at a drasha on Shabbos, someone said, why do you make a bar mitzvah? You should make it a bas mitzvah. It's a joke. All right. But anyway, the point is this. If the relationship of us to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is like we are his wife, so to speak, when we are having an intimate relationship with him, when are we having that? During our davening. During our davening, we are connecting with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a very, very high spiritual way. We're supposed to be completely detached from the world and busy with him. Our mind is totally focused on him.
Also, when we do teshuvah,
Not because like the wife
All right, when you do tshuva, that's in general for your whole life. I mean, that's 24 hours, 24/7. This is talking about during the davening. So during the davening, you have an intimate relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shach, 3 times a day. Shachar, Mincha, Ma'ariv. What happens when you have a stranger entering the relationship? Where is the relationship taking place? In the mind. In the mind, that's where it's really taking place. In the spiritual realm, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not physical. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is only spiritual. You have to communicate with him in the spiritual realm. And when you have something else which is spiritual, which is interfering with your intimate relationship, what's the result going to be? A mamzer, as we learned last week. That produces a mamzer. The tefillah is therefore considered to be a mamzer, an illegitimate child, and it's not obviously acceptable. Not acceptable. So the Taz was a very faithful wife, the Taz. He said, when I die in 120 years, my talus is going to be a witness. There was never any strange men in my relationship with Hashem. He was able to control it, and he worked on it. It isn't something that comes easily. No matter how big a person is, strange thoughts come all the time. You have to do a lot of work on your davening to make sure that it's totally focused and there's no strange thoughts. I tell everybody, my other talmidim, I have my other shiurim also, Baal Shem Tov gives 2 eitzes. One eitzah is that you should close your eyes and picture the letters, especially the first bracha of Shemona Esrei. Everybody knows what the letters of the Aleph Beis look like. Picture the letters in your mind. You're saying Baruch, think of a Beis. And think of your Beis expanded and large, and you are now diving inside the Beis. You are becoming part of the letter. Then you say Baruch, the Reish too, then the Vav, and then the Chaf. Think of the letters expanded, and then you go into the letter, becoming part of the letter, and that way there's absolutely no problem. You may not necessarily even have to understand what the words mean. The words themselves have an innate kedusha, and you just say to yourself, Hashem, I can't possibly understand and even think of all the translations of everything, but I know that these words are Lashon HaKodesh. They were chosen by the Nevi'im, by the Tanoim, the Anshe Knesset Gedola, and they accomplish what they have to accomplish in Shemayim.
I heard the same applies reading the Zohar.
That's
Letters.
That's what they say. If you learn the Zohar, even without understanding it, it's also some kind of a great thing. You accomplish something because it arouses all kinds of spiritual powers. That's what they say. Yeah, I heard it too. You know, to do what I just explained with the Baal Shem Tov's, that's his advice. If you want to make sure that you're davening properly, you have to picture the letters in your mind. And somebody here the other week said, what if you don't think of each letter individually, just think of the word as a whole? Well, that's also possible. There are areas in the texts where you could say that the word is also good, but you expand the word and you think of yourself going into the word, becoming part of the word, like you're getting onto a train. Train comes into the station, opens the doors, you get on, and the train moves ahead. The same thing happens with the davening. You open your mouth, you say the words, think of the letters, and think of yourself going into the letters, and the letters move on, they go up to Shemayim, and that's all you need. Very difficult to do that. Very difficult to do that. You're supposed to do that for the entire Shemona Esrei. But at least for the first bracha. At least for the first bracha. So now we understand, by the way, why tefillah is called avodah. Where do we know the mitzvah of tefillah from? We know the mitzvah of tefillah, it's based on the pasuk, Ula Avdo, in Kriyat Shema, Ula Avdo, B'chol Levavchem. When a person is doing avodah to Hashem, he has to do with the entire heart. What is something you do with your entire? What is considered the Gemara? What is avodah shebalev? What is avodah shebalev? Gemara says tefillah. It's a very, very, I would say, difficult emotional experience. It's an emotional experience. It takes, I would say, a proper mindset. Like you do, what you described before is nowhere near that. The entire davening from the beginning to the end, 33 minutes. You know what that is? That is something like, well, it's better than nothing. If you wouldn't have that, they wouldn't come to shul altogether. So better let them come and fool themselves and think they're davening.
Well, we had exactly 10.
It's a very serious thing. And you have to understand, we have mitzvahs d'oraisa, mitzvahs d'rabbanan. This happens to be a mitzvah min Torah, d'oraisa. Just like putting on tefillah is a mitzvah d'oraisa, tefillah is a mitzvah d'oraisa, is also a mitzvah d'oraisa. You are required, it's one of the Taryag mitzvahs, to communicate with Hashem. You have to communicate with Hashem. And the question is when. Of course, we said this before. Ramban says you won't be able to do it unless it's something very, very pressing. You have a difficult situation that you're in, you have to call out to Hashem to help you. So that could be once in 2 months. Who knows? That's what the Ramban says. The Rambam says at least once a day. Once a day. It doesn't say which day, which tefillah. Shachris, Mincha, doesn't matter. Once a day. But the Rabbanim came along and said, we have to do it 3 times a day. And I guess they were right. I guess. They don't need my haskama. Right. We need the connection more often than less often. Because of the way the world is, the way the gullus is, we get pulled away with so many things that distract us. It's very important for a Jew to have that connection. The more, the better. And therefore, 3 times a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once at night. It's a very good, we understand what the Anshe Knesset Gedolah we're trying to do. And they found sources in it. Then that says, Vayash came over Maboker, that's Shachris. Then was Yitzchak Vayivka Makom, and then the Yaakov, I remember the pasuk for Yaakov, Hivim Makom, whatever it is. They found the pasuk in each one of the Avos, which tell us that each one was spelled at a different time of the day. Avram was in the morning, Yitzchak in the afternoon, and Yaakov was at night. So therefore we have a precedent from our fathers to do it 3 times a day. But that precedent was not obligatory. It's only a sign that this is a way to do it. Until the Rabbanim came along, the Anshe Knesset Gedolah, the Tanoim, the Nevi'im, and made a halacha obligation, now we have to do it 3 times a day. Okay, so let's look now at the page that we have in front of us. We're in page 151. Let's take a look at Sadi Tes. The main one is Kuf Aleph. We'll see afterwards. Let's go in order. Sadi Tes. Im Adam is Palel v'yesh lo machshava acheres. If a person is davening and other things come into his mind, you have to realize what's happening. During that presence, that means there is a koach of tumah, which is now riding on the words that you said. Where's the koach of tumah? It's something spiritual. It's only an idea, but you are already verbalizing words. And while you're verbalizing words, you're supposed to be connected to your thoughts. But the thoughts have nothing to do at this time with what the words are saying. These are other thoughts that are coming into your mind, and your mouth is just going on by habit. Ki machshava rochefes ala dibur. The thoughts ride on the words, and this is what it says there in Shir Hashirim, L'susasri berichvei paro. The horses in the chariots of Paro. Susim nikrayim adiburim. The horses are called the words. They carry the thoughts. Ukishaparo, when there are now Paro, the king of Mitzrayim, he is now being expressed here as the Machshava Zora. When you have these chariots where they're ridden upon by Paro, then it better to be Rayasi, my wife, you should be dimisich, you should be quiet. You have all kinds of strange thoughts coming into your mind. What should you do? At that time, you have to stop talking. You realize that you became distracted. You lost your focus. So what should you do? What you should do immediately is to stop talking.
Yes, but
Stop saying the words.
what does it mean? Azad imotech rayati.
Dimisich Rayasi. Rayasi means my wife, from the word domain, to be quiet. To be quiet. So if that's what a person should, he has to be in control of himself all the time, aware of what he's doing. If a strange thought comes into your mind that has nothing to do with the davening, nothing to do with the words you're saying, the best thing is at that moment, stop saying anything. Clear your mind, and then continue. But not to let your words go in the natural, habitual way, because that's what you're used to doing it, and you know it by heart, but your mind is someplace else. Yosef Tov Ilu Shotek, you're much better off being silent. Avol davar hayotze milev and nichnas lev. Perish belev ha'elyon al yedei ha'hevel kinoda. And he says something that comes out of your heart will go into Hashem's heart, so to speak, through the air that's carrying the sound. All right. What he means by that, take a look at the bottom. He gives you an example of what he means to say there. He said words very, very concisely. We have to understand what goes to Shemayim. What actually goes to Shemayim? So he can explain that in a note on the bottom in Ayin Gimel. B'Sefer Or HaMeir in Shir HaShirim, a pasuk, Mi zos ola kasa v'zel shono. Shemaiti b'Shem Baal Shem Tov. Zichrono Levracha. Sh'amar inyan eichus aliyos tfiloseinu. What is actually going up when we pray to Hashem? What goes up? B'vadai hatfila eina ola begashmius. There is no physical elevation at all. What comes out of your mouth, the sound. Sound is also something which is physical, although you can't see sound, but sound can be measured. Sound can be measured. I mean, it has physical properties which are very, very dainty, very, very delicate, but sound can be measured. Those sounds do not go up to Shemayim. Ki, what goes up to Shemayim? Ki'im kamo ha'ashan oleh. It's like what goes up when smoke goes up. It's something which may be considered physical, but it's really not physical. It's very, very delicate, very, very thin. V'hurak ru'usa, what it goes up? Ru'usa v'retzon ha'adam. That's what goes up. Ru'usa means the Aramaic for ratzon. I don't know why he brought the Aramaic and the Lashon HaKodesh too. Ru'usa v'ratzon. What goes up to Shemayim is your thoughts. Thoughts go up. Your ruts and your will. Your will goes up. Bis orus vis labus. Your arousal and being inflamed. It means the degree of your will, the degree of your arousal, that's what goes up. A person who has eyes in the mind to see, asher klolos hatfilos kishaolim einam ki'im kamo ashan ha'oleh. Rak ra'us v'ratzon. So that applies what? Not only to you, applies to everybody. If you have 100 people davening, or you have one person davening, it's all the same quantity. All the same quantity of what? Of some kind of spiritual collection of all of the hearts all of the minds of the people, that goes up together. And it's interesting. It's something which cannot be measured in physical terms. Cannot be measured. But if you have a tzibur, 10 people davening, or one person davening, it makes a big difference. Now, how much it makes a big difference is, there's a halacha in Shulchan Aruch that you can daven in any language you want. Hashem is very, very, kind to accept any language. If you don't know Lashon HaKodesh, you don't know Hebrew, you want to communicate to Hashem the way you want to communicate. Speak to Him in any language you want. It makes no difference to Him at all.
I have a problem.
Wait. Bamer Devarim Amurim, when you're doing it only once in a while. But if you do it often kavua, or you're davening with a minyan, then it has to be Lashon HaKodesh. There's something in the Lashon HaKodesh that has a kedusha to it, which is necessary. I mean, don't forget, we're talking about what goes up is really the ratzon. But the ratzon has to have a vehicle to take it up. And that vehicle are the words. The words that are expressed only when we say them. After we express it, after the word comes out of our mouth, it's no longer a word. It doesn't have any form. It can't be described. It has no shape. All it is air. Yeah. What goes up really, he's saying, is the ratzon, in what's in your mind, your will. Your will to communicate. That's what goes up. What do you want to say, Yaakov Meir?
If so, why to delve in the letters and not in the word?
Why, excuse me?
To delve, to put your mind in the letters and not in the word.
Okay, so I said before, there are places in the Baal Shem Tov, with some places it's mashma, that it's good enough just think of the whole word as itself. In some places it's mashma that you have to look each letter individually. It takes a lot longer. If I say the word Baruch, instead of thinking of Beis, Reish, Vav, Chaf, just think of the word Baruch and look at the whole word. It goes faster. It takes less time. But it's not clear from
the point is not faster or slow. The point is the ikar. It's the letter of the word.
Well, I can't, since we learned it actually here a few times back, we learned there are some places where the Lashon of the Baal Shem Tov is mashma. You have to do letter by letter. In other places, it's mashma. It's enough to do the word. So I don't know which is the right one. You have to find maybe other sources in the Baal Shem Tov. But we saw in our Sefer here, we saw there are places of mashma word. One says it's mashma the letters. If you do the letters, vadai good. That's vadai good. Question is if it's enough to do all the whole word without doing each individual letter. Yeah.
One or two questions. Is the Hebrew language requirement just talking about the feeling, not the whole referee?
The Hebrew language, I imagine, see, when Chazal, Anshikus Gedolah, when they formulated the words for our Shmona Esrei, let's say, or for the rest of Davening, they understood each letter has a certain power. Do not think of the Aleph Beis as just a simple alphabet. It's much, much more than a simple alphabet. Remember, we spoke here, I'll just tell you something, Derech Agav, you should know, it's kedai to know it, in the Sidurim, or in the little pamphlets that they have for Friday night Kiddush, or for the Zmiros. Very often you'll find in there the Eishes Chayil. Now, there was a time where I used to come home and make Kiddush, and during the meal, we would sing at the table Eishes Chayil. Why did I sing it Eishes Chayil? Because it's a tribute to my wife. She spends hours preparing the meal, and it's a Hakar Tov, recognition of the work she put in to prepare Shabbos meal for everyone at the table. So we sang Eishes Chayil, indicating her. Then one day, I don't remember how far back it was, I saw in the Sefer, it says, no, that's wrong. Eishes Chayil has to be said before Kiddush. You want to say it after Kiddush in addition? Fine, say it after Kiddush too. Say it during the meal. But it's very important to do it before Kiddush. Why? You know why? The Eishes Chayil has the entire Aleph base. Correct? And Shabbos is the Makor of Bracha. When Shabbos comes, the Makor of Bracha. We say that in the Zmir, it's the Makor of Bracha. How the Bracha comes down? The Bracha comes down through the Aleph base. The Aleph base are the channels. There are 22 channels which bring the Bracha down. And therefore you want to do it before Kiddush. Because Kiddush is starting the Brachas of Shabbos after davening, the Brachas for the meal. You want the Bracha to come down, then you have to get the channels open. Open up the channels by saying Eishes Chayil beforehand, knowing that. Why am I saying Eishes Chayil before Kiddush? I want to open up the channels so when I start making Kiddush, the brachas will come down to me, to the people at the table, for Am Yisrael, whatever it is. So, as I said, the Aleph base is not just an alphabet. It's not just an alphabet. The letters and the weird shapes that the letters have. Weird, very, very weird shapes. Who would ever think to make an alphabet that looks like it does? Everything has a reason to it, has a kedusha to it, and therefore we say the entire Aleph Beit by thinking Eishes Chayil before Kiddush. And if you want to say it afterwards again, you can say it again too. But it's very important before because the Aleph Beit. So therefore, when the Anshe Knesset Gedola, when they formulated the tefillas for us, they knew exactly the koach of the Aleph Beit, and they made those words so they can accomplish in Shemayim what they're supposed to accomplish, but we have to be focused on the words with our ratzon too.
The question is the Shulchan Aruch ruling is for all prayers or for the Tefillah, the Hebrew only, the real Hebrew. And my follow-up question is:
what do you mean? The main prayer of Shachris Mincha Mayav is Shmona Esrei.
So is that what that was applying to the Shulchan Aruch?
Yeah, basically.
Now, my follow-up question is: in this door here, they print the English. So how can they print something unacceptable? For example, Kedusha, there are things that they don't give you the choice. The Kaddish, I believe it was Kaddish, anyway. But there's 2 or 3 things where they don't really give you an English option. But the rest they do, so how can it be wrong?
But it's not an option. They're putting it there so that you would understand what you're saying. That's it. If you want to say the words, you don't understand them, so you look at the translation, so you know what you're saying. That's the reason that they put it in. Not that you should use it to daven only in English. They want you to say the Hebrew, but understand what you're saying. So while you're saying the Hebrew, you can look at the English.
So then moving further,
That's like me.
So actually, that's if you're talking about the field.
It's like being an old man a little bit. Yeah. The shotgun spends
The
finger.
right eye reads the Hebrew, the left eye reads the English.
That I don't like. The transliteration.
I read it by shotgun Hebrew. Each line understands hundreds of lines.
He's pretty good Hebrew.
I speak it, but
All right, let's go on, Rabbi Sai. On the page in front of you. Kuf Inyan HaYichud, this coming together, this Yichud, Hu Shelo LaHafrid HaSeichel Min HaDiburim. Not to separate your seichel from the words. In other words, be focused on the words that you're saying, even though you don't understand them. But it's a very good idea to keep your fingers, you have a siddur open in front of you, keep your finger pointing at the words, go word over word, moving your finger along the page. That helps you focus so that something else doesn't enter. It's not a guarantee. It could enter you even with your finger there too. But it helps you. You'll see a finger on the word, you'll be thinking of that word. Shalom la'arev rabatov, but you do not want anything which is extraneous to get mixed in with those wonderful words. As this is what it is indicated, you can read it into the words. Eitz hadas tov v'ra. The Eitz hadas tov v'ra is not the optimal. It's not the best thing. It's better to have the das with the tov without the ra. Okay, that's fine. That's another reference to the same idea. All right, now the next thing is the most important part. Kuf Aleph. B'tfila tzorach liot kamo mufshat migashmius. You hear that, Rabbi say? When a person is going to start Shmona Esrei, he has to, before he starts, he has to get himself in hand and say, okay, I'm now disconnecting from the entire world. I want to know nothing, I see nothing, I know nothing, I do nothing. I am totally into the words. I don't want to have anything else entering my mind at all. Nothing. Mufshat minagashmius. I'm not interested in the entire physical world. I'm not interested in my body in at all. Mufshat migashmius. Ve'einenu margish mitziyusa b'olam hazeh. You hear that, Rabbi Saab? How far it is to go? You don't even feel yourself. You're standing there with 2 feet together. You have to lose your sensitivity of that you're standing there in Shmona Esrei. That's how far you have to take yourself away from this world. Lose your connection to the physical world, even to your own body. You have the entire mind is what's in full focus, the mind only, and the body becomes a non-factor here. V'zehu, a beautiful pshat in the Pirkei Avos. Im ein ani li, mi li. What does that mean? Im ein ani li, mi li. You know, most people translate that to say, if you're not going to take care of yourself, don't expect favors from everybody else. Im ein ani li. If you don't take care of yourself, who can you expect to take care of you? Be independent, take care of yourself. Don't think about others, that they're going to help you. That's what everyone says that simple pshat is. You have to be independent, take care of yourself, and don't be dependent on others. Well, how does it fit into this? Klomar. He's reading it another pshat altogether. Klomar. Kishani ovo lemadrega. When I come to the level, shelo eidav argish klal im anili. When I get to the im ein anili, means if I get to the level where I don't know who I am, what I am. I lost it completely. I lost complete sense of myself. Hainu when im ani ba'olam hazeh im la. I don't know if I'm in this world or I'm not in this world. Where am I? I am now communicating with my husband. I'm now in a different world. I'm in an intimate relationship with Hashem. I don't know anything else. I don't know where I am. I'm not. You forget about it altogether. You don't even know if you're in a shul, you're not in a shul. You don't see anything, you don't hear anything. You're totally mamish into the words, into your communication with Hashem. You don't want to know anything else, nothing, absolutely nothing. A gun would be shot in the shul, you wouldn't hear it. You wouldn't hear if a gun goes off, you won't hear it. You won't hear it either. You won't hear it. If you're at the right level, you will not hear it. That's the way, ad kadei kach. You are a complete disconnect from the entire world. You're so focused, and then it happens, you can understand such a thing. Sometimes, a person is in a very deep daydream. You're so deeply into the daydream, and someone says something to you, you don't hear it at all. You don't hear it. You're so into it, you don't hear it at all. He has to nudge you to wake you up. Nudge you to wake you up. That's the way it should be. You have to really prime yourself beforehand. You can't just start. It takes time to get into that mindset where you completely disconnect from everything around you. Bavadai, he says, Baal Shem Tov further, Einli shum pakad mimachshava zoros. Then I'm not afraid at all. Nothing, when I get into that kind of level of thinking, nothing can enter my mind. What kind of strange thought could come close to me? When I'm not into this world at all. I'm completely out of this world. It says right afterwards, if I'm not myself, I don't know who I am, I don't know what I am. I know I'm up in Shemayim. I'm connecting to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. with my mind. So immediately, who can touch me? Who can influence me? Who can bother me? Who can come into my... Nobody. Absolutely nobody. I'm so into it that I'm completely protected by that strong connection. But it says afterwards, but if I am very well aware of myself, very well aware of I'm thinking about Rotzalomar, I think of myself as existing, meaning what? I have 2 feet on the ground, I can feel it, I know what's going on, I'm wondering, is there going to air raid siren going to go off or not go off? I have all these things in my mind. I'm in this world. I'm davening more, I say, because that's the mitzvah. I have to do it, I'll do it. But I still have my mind on what's going on around me. I'm not totally into it, I'm not totally focused. The mitzvah is boil mazeh. Oz adarabba eineni nechshav l'klum. Then you should realize at this moment, when you are supposed to be communicating to God, you have now crossed yourself, canceled yourself. You have canceled yourself. I'm here faking it. I'm faking it. I'm talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, asking him for things, when my mind is someplace else. I'm not serious. I'm not sincere. I'm not really communicating with him. My mind is around this world. Mani chashuv. What is it? What am I worth? What's my whole avoda? It's a joke. It's a big farce. Because when when I are thinking about myself, and I have to do this, I have yet to finish Moshe, the time is coming, then I have to get out of here, I have a schedule to do today, all kinds of things I have in my mind. It said, get this statement, you should underline it and think about it 100 times a day. What is the main reason you are created in this world? What for? For yourself? That's why you were created? For yourself? No. You have a mission to accomplish. You were sent down here for a reason. And we have to know, all of us sitting here, myself included, the Arizal says we've all been here before. All the neshamos from the second base of Mikdash, from the Churban base of Mikdash on, are all repeats. We've been here before, and we were sent down b'chazdei Hashem. He was very kind to us. We haven't completed our mission the first time. He gave us a second chance, sometimes even a third chance. We're all here for a reason. We have tikkunim to make. We have avodah to do. This is a tremendous chesed. How can you take the chesed and throw it out and not use it? And one of the things you have to do to strengthen that is to communicate with your Creator who sent you down here. That's part of the avodah. In the previous lives, you probably also didn't daven properly. So he sent you down again, gave you a chance on a whole new life to try to daven properly. That's one of the things you messed up the first time. Do it this time right.
Was this my first time?
I said, the neshamas, by and large, says the Arizal, are all repeats since the Churban Beis Hamikdash. All of us.
I think it's finished.
Well, if Mashiach comes, so it's finished, but
it was 3 times. It's over.
not necessarily. Not necessarily. If I'm thinking about myself, so I can't work for him. You can't be loyal to 2 people at the same time. You have loyalty to one. I have to be loyal to him, not to myself. Why? I have all these strange thoughts in my mind. This is not the way to accomplish your mission. They're all confusing me and distracting me. In the word sukkah, in ani kan, hakol kan, yesh leforach al pi derech zeh. This is one of the, I think it was Hillel who said that. Im ani kan, hakol kan, yesh leforach al pi derech zeh. What does that mean? How do you explain that? Im ani kan, if I'm here, everything is here. What does that mean? That's just the opposite of what we were saying. We're saying you're not supposed to be thinking about yourself. If I'm here, everything is here. What does that mean? If I'm here, I lost it. I'm supposed to realize that I'm not here. I'm only here physically, but really I'm there. I'm not here. What did he say in the Gemara? I think it was Hillel. Imani kan hakol kan. What does that mean? So I'll tell you. This is a Kabbalistic revelation. It's a secret, but you can use it. It's not such a deep secret that can't be revealed. The word ani has 3 letters, Aleph, Nun, Yud. The same 3 letters can be rearranged to be Aleph, Yud, Nun, Ayin, or Ayin, Ayin, correct? Ayin. So it all depends on how you arrange the letters. If the letters are Aleph, Yud, Nun, Ayin, Esa Einai Eloharin May Ayin Yovo Ezri. We're saying that now all the time for the war effort. May Ayin Yovo Ezri. What does that mean, May Ayin? Normally you translate it to mean from where? Esa Einai Eloharin May Ayin Yovo. From where is my help going to come? May Ayin. The truth of the matter is, Al Pi Kabbalah.
Yes, man.
Well, that's the same idea. Ayin means Hashem. Ayin means something which is not describable. You say, from where is the help going to come? From where? Something which cannot be described. Cannot be described at all. May Ayin, from where is it going to come? It's going to come from something which is indescribable. As he said, Rabbi Yaakov Meir, when the world was created, it went from Ayin liyesh. Yesh me Ayin. There was a something, a physical creation from a nothing. And once that happened, it can never happen again. There was one time in the existence of the world that there was a nothingness that became a something. That happened once. And that's it. Once that happened, everything else afterwards is all a continuation of that yesh, of that something. But ayin means Hashem. If you change around the word to ani, it means also Hashem, but the lowest level, it's the Gashmias. It's the Gashmias. But in that Gashmias is Hashem also. So what he's saying, Im ani kan, if that word ayin is down here, and it's here with me, in other words, I'm connected to it, hakon kan. Because ani is really ayin. If Hashem is here, in other words, I am connected with Hashem, everything is here. That's what he wants to say. This is what the Baal Shem Tov is trying to say. Yesh lefarach al pita. This you can explain it in the same way. Ani and ayin are the same, and therefore, if I am here, meaning to say, not me, myself, I, but what's inside me. What's inside me is Hashem. If that's here, and I don't feel myself, not me, then I'll call kan. Then everything is here. That's the way it's supposed to be. So, let's hope, let's say, our learning is not just theoretical. When we learn something, the person, after he finishes learning, it's brought down in the Sfarim HaKadoshim. Whatever a person learns in Torah, as we learned in Pirkei Avos, al shlosha dvorim ha'olam omei, ala Torah, ve'al avoda, ve'al gemilas chasadim. Why is Torah the first thing? Why is Torah? It's 3-4 avoda, 4 gemilas chasadim. Why is that? The reason is because that gives you the basic information that you need. Once you have the basic information, you can do the avoda, gemilas chasadim. If you wouldn't have Torah first, you wouldn't know how to do the Gemilas Chasadim. You wouldn't know how to do the Avodah. You must have the Torah first. So the point of the learning is so that you use the learning and apply it. So I'm hoping, you hear what's all, I'm praying to Hashem that our learning here should not be only theoretical for the time that we're here. And then when we come to actual davening, okay, that was a shia, but it has nothing to do with me. Chalil v'chas. The davening should have an influence of what we learned about how to daven. This is the whole point of learning the Baal Shem Tov on tefillah, so that our tefillah becomes more of a tefillah like it's supposed to be. We really connect with what we're supposed to, and then, Imani kan, I'll call kan.